distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, a very good afternoon to you, and thank you so much for making time for this session. My name is Jackie Lumbasi. It is a great pleasure for me to be your master of ceremony today. I would love to say a warm welcome to those who are visiting the country for the first time, those who've been to different sessions on Invest in Rwanda, a warm welcome once again. This particular one seeks to position Rwanda as a prime investment destination. We emphasize the country's conducive business environment, opportunities, incentives, among others. Now, to start us off, I would like you to turn your attention to the screen in front of you for a cool video on Invest in Rwanda.
Welcome to Rwanda, a world of endless opportunities, where innovation and growth converge against a breathtaking backdrop. This is your opportunity to embark on a transformative journey, ideal for organizations seeking new horizons. In the heart of Africa lies Rwanda, a nation that has not only overcome adversity, but has emerged as one of Africa's most promising business hubs. Here, the prospects are boundless, and the incentives are abundant. Imagine a nation renowned for its ease of doing business, with a government committed to fostering a conducive environment for foreign investments. The World Bank ranks Rwanda as one of the top countries in Africa for business-friendly policies. Picture a workforce that is young, dynamic, and eager to contribute to your success. The government of Rwanda's commitment to technology and innovation creates the ideal setting for your business to thrive. With a rapidly growing digital infrastructure, your company can harness the power of connectivity like never before. From the vibrant streets of Kigali to the lush landscapes of the land of 1,000 hills, Rwanda invites companies and investors from all around the world to be a part of its success story. Be it in finance, technology, manufacturing, renewable energy, mining, or any sector, the possibilities are endless. Therefore, if you're a company with a vision for growth, Rwanda is more than a destination. It is an opportunity to be part of a nation's journey towards transformation. Discover Rwanda, where innovation meets opportunity and where your business aspirations can thrive. The future is here, and it's calling you to do business in Rwanda.
Thank you very much. Let me tell you a short story. I met a gentleman a few weeks ago, and he came into Rwanda just the same way you've come for the forum. He came around for Chogam, looked around, visited, talked to different people, and the gentleman never went back home. So I have a feeling for all of you, you're looking for a place to invest after the many sessions you've attended, there's nowhere you're going. Ladies and gentlemen, at this juncture, I would love to welcome on stage Nelim Kazaire, the Deputy CEO, Rwanda Development Board, to share her opening remarks. Please join me in welcoming her.
Thank you, Jackie. I think Jackie has done a bit of the job I'm supposed to do this afternoon. Honorable ministers, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, captains of industry, Mr. Maktar, our friend and MD of KIFC, present with us today. All of you, a warm welcome again in Rwanda and in Invest in Rwanda session. We are delighted by your presence because this is an expression that you are interested in investing in Rwanda. Rwanda this year in 2023 has achieved a remarkable growth, I would say, because we've been able to catch up from the COVID time and post-COVID time, and we've got a growth of 8.2%, and that has been mainly contributed by the growth of service sectors, which contributed to 44% of our GDP, and the sector of agriculture that contributed 27%, and the sector of service that contributed 22%. So in this afternoon, we want to invite you to join us in this journey of growth, because as we pursue that, we have a vision. We want in 2050 to be a middle-income economy. We want to be having 12,000 as a GDP per capita. But before we get there, in 2035, we want to have 4,000 as GDP per capita, US dollars. Today, we are 1,000. So as much as we are growing fast, we need to grow faster so that we're able to achieve our targets. And in that journey, we're inviting you to be part of us. Why would you be interested in investing in Rwanda? Rwanda will give you a connectivity and open market to almost 80 million population living close to the proximity of our country. And you have a market of 300 million population by the East African community, for which we are a member, but also you look at the broader region market. It gives you an economy of a size of almost 29 trillion US dollars. With the connectivity we have with our national carrier Rwanda that goes to now more than 25 destinations, we have also connectivity from other airlines, international ones, that can connect Rwanda to the rest of the world, as you can see. So you investing in Rwanda, you're not looking only at a market of 13 million population, but a market of 300 million and more. We have a supportive and infrastructures and policies. Investing in Rwanda, according to investment code today, you have 0% of an international company with headquarters or regional offices in Rwanda and that invest the equivalent of $10 million. 3% pure holding companies that have, this is what is provided as an investment code with preferential corporate income tax. If you're a pure holding company worth 1 million, SPVs, collective investment, global trending, and IPs. 15% investor operating in mass transport, energy production, manufacturing, and ICT. And you have 7 years corporate income tax holidays for investing in equivalent, if you have an investment equivalent to $50 million and contributing at least 30% of form of equity. But beyond that, under Rwanda Development Board, you have services that are covering more than 400 permits and licenses you have to get. We have 22 institutions that are in one-stop center. This you find it in one institution. So ladies and gentlemen, it will take you less than 24 hours for you to open a business in Rwanda. You register your investment, and from there and license any permit you need, you get them and you get facilitated under one roof. We are also ready to be your innovative partner. Rwanda is a proof of concept destination and building an innovation ecosystem. We'll give examples of companies and initiatives that started with Rwanda, like Zipline, like BioNTech, now manufacturing of vaccine that we have in Rwanda, Noshken, IRCAD, to name a few. And shortly you will hear also a story of one of the investors who have already started their business in Rwanda, who will tell you more about it. We also have a home of Africa's top universities, because we believe education is important. Skills that are adapted to the needs of the strategic sectors are important. So as we attract investment, it's not only into business and manufacturing and industry or mining, but also investment in high-end education is an opportunity in Rwanda. Rwanda is a place to connect and showcase. The proof of the matter is that we have all of you today connecting under Africa CEO Forum. Actually, I would say shake the hand of everybody next to you and say, welcome to Rwanda. Thank you. So you see, it's a point of connection. I'm sure so many people have gone back, or they will go back home with a lot of business cards. Some of them, let me not point where they will end, but there are others which are going to be beneficial and are going to be business opportunities. So when you invest in Rwanda, you're not only investing in this market, but you're connected to the rest of the world. Let me mention, in 2023, we had around 65,000 delegates that came in this country from across the world. So that becomes a link, a connection, a hub of people to be able to network. Some of the events we've hosted, the FIFA Congress, Women Deliver, BAL, which is coming again this season in 1 week, actually. So you're welcome for the lovers of basketball. Please welcome back next week during the Basketball African Champions League. And CHOGM, which we also hosted. So you invest in Rwanda, you're connected to Rwandans, but also to the rest of the world. So in brief, you're invited to be part of this journey because Rwanda will be a gateway to the continent for you. We will be an innovation partner. We have an environment where doing business is easy, facilitated, and as you saw it in the video, so many opportunities and incentives that you can benefit, but also investing in Rwanda will allow you to connect and be positioned in a way you can showcase your investment, your initiatives, your innovations. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, you are welcome to invest in Rwanda. Thank you.
Another round of applause for the Deputy CEO. And thank you very much, Deputy CEO, for touching on the issue of population. Because some of our visitors could have Googled. As soon as they decided we're going for the Africa CEO Forum, they Googled Rwanda, and Google gave you the Rwanda population. It did not talk about the proximity. It did not talk about the 80 million people that you could have access to. And even the beauty that you have a country right in the middle that will connect you to that population and more. So thank you for that. And today's partners for the Invest in Rwanda session are Rwanda Social Security Board and Kigali International Financial Center. Would love to feed your eyes once again. So let's have a look at the screen.
Welcome to the Rwanda Social Security Board, where innovation intersects with purpose. Since 2010, RSSB has been at the forefront of transforming social security, embodying a dedication to excellence and a vision for a more promising, secure future. Our investments go beyond numbers. We are contributing to shaping a visionary future that transforms the lives of all Rwandans. From investments in the Kigali Convention Center, Kigali Golf Resort, Vision City Estate, and the upcoming Kigali Green Complex, these projects mark the inception of Rwanda's journey towards a bold, prosperous, and sustainable future. With $1.8 billion in assets under management, RSSB is Rwanda's largest institutional investor, contributing up to 15% of the nation's GDP. Our investments bolster Rwanda, driving local markets and innovation, fostering stability, and nurturing an inclusive economy. Investments in companies like MTN, Bank of Kigali, and Inyange have generated thousands of employment opportunities across sectors such as telecommunications, construction, FMCG, and beyond. The companies under RSSB's portfolio have contributed to the creation of over 200,000 jobs across Rwanda. Our impact extends further. We are forging groundbreaking partnerships with leading biopharmaceutical and technology firms like Zipline and Akagera Medicines, revolutionizing healthcare accessibility in Rwanda and positioning the country as a trailblazer in medical technology. RSSB's investments transcend Rwanda's borders. We are proud to be one of the few social security funds pioneering Pan-African investments. This is exemplified by our collaboration with Qatar Investment Authority in the $250 million private equity fund, the Virunga Africa Fund, which is domiciled in Rwanda and managed by Admeus Capital Partners, also headquartered in Rwanda. Additionally, with North Fund, we initiated the first African venture capital fund domiciled in Rwanda, managed by Catapult Africa. Rwanda's commitment to securing inclusive growth is exemplified by its remarkable universal health insurance coverage of 95% of the population. Expanding long-term financial security and affordable quality healthcare for all Rwandans is our core mission at RSSB. We want to ensure people's health and build the country's wealth. Visit our website to learn more about RSSB's journey.
Thank you very much. If after watching that video you are inspired to partner with the country's National Pension Fund, in the audience this afternoon we have the CEO and the Deputy CEO of RSSB. You can start that conversation already. Don't waste time. And now it's with great pleasure to introduce an in-depth conversation. We're here to talk about investing in Rwanda, and you've got questions. You're looking for answers. It could be about the population. It could be about incentives. Where do I go? Where do I look? I would love to invite on stage the Managing Director of International Finance, that's Dr. Diop. Thank you so much for being here with us this afternoon. If you could please come on stage. And next on stage, we have the Deputy CEO of Rwanda Development Board, Nelly returns. To moderate this conversation, join me in welcoming the Chairman, Mackenzie's Africa Region, Acha Leti.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. I know we all came from lunch. It's great to be here and very excited about this session on investing in Rwanda. I thought I'd start the session by also just being honest as to why they invited me to moderate the session. And so we're going to talk a lot about investing professionally in Rwanda. If you want to invest personally in Rwanda and find a wife, you can also come talk to me. I can give you some tips on that. But let's focus on the professional investments for now. Magda, let me start with you, right? The IFC invests a lot in Rwanda. I would love to hear a bit of, we've heard from Nelly about, the attraction on why you should invest here, but let's talk about some of the investments you've made. How did you go about them? What has been the impact, and what are you most proud of?
No, thank you very much, Asha, and Nelly, thank you very much for hosting us. Why Rwanda? I mean, there is something special in Rwanda, which is there is a mix of tangible investment and investment in intangible thing. And it's reflected in the number on services. People always think about Africa, about investing in physical things. Do I invest in mining and extract it? Do I invest in commodity? But people don't think about Africa as a place of knowledge, as a place of modern economy. And I think this is something which is very attractive in Rwanda, because you think about it and you're looking at the whole strategy. I've been around a country which have noticed that the comparative advantage that they can build over time will not be only around the physical endowment that they have. And I think that creates a long-term vision, and that allows you to invest in sectors that are nascent sectors, but also sectors where you can use technology, which is the most advanced technology. So when we were talking a few years ago, when I started working on Rwanda and talking to people, at that time, we had a country which said, I want to be a service economy in Africa because I am a landlocked country. I am a country which has access to the sea. What can I do which is valuable? What can I think? So they built all the ingredients that are necessary for it. Business climate, it went at the top of the ranking. Secondly, to build the infrastructure that was necessary. The place where we are sitting here today didn't exist a few years ago. There was no centers, there were no hotels of this quality. The country systematically invested in it to create the condition for it. The third element was the human capital. If you want to be in the knowledge economy and be able to build on this comparative advantage, you needed to think about human capital. But when people talk about human capital, often they talk about it in very broad terms, not specific. And what I've seen in Rwanda was a focus on science and STEM. So they attracted the Mathematical Institute here. They are creating now the life science that we will be discussing later on. So all these elements were put in place. So that's why IFC, when we're looking at Rwanda, we're not looking only about investment in a specific country. we're talking about the market, not only the African market, but the market which goes beyond the African, because we're talking about intangible and investment, not investment only in physical goods. It's about knowledge, and I think it's very important. I think that when we want to think about what will be the way, personally, I see the way Rwanda will be reaching the 4,000 per capita income in a few years. I see an economy which will be relying a lot on services, on knowledge, on science, relying on IT, on artificial intelligence, on biotech, on precision medicine, all these. And at the back of it, to have an economy which is very much around climate change, around environment. And so the economy will be projecting a little bit what the world sees the world becoming in a few years. So this is, Aisha, when I think about Rwanda, that's what I'm thinking about. So how IFC has been fitting in all this? We've been investing in the financial sector. We were partnering in creating the Kigali financial sector by being a technical assistant and working on this area. We're working on deepening the capital market by bringing on financial innovation. When people didn't believe that the country can have mRNA vaccine, we betted on it and started working with the authority on Rwanda around that. And today we are BioNTech, which is here. We invested in agriculture because there were a strong will to have a growth which is well shared across the population. And the rural part of Rwanda needed to benefit also from that growth that the country was registering. So we invested in agriculture, in small or the farmers, and tried to support, put in place, use the technology that was available for that. So there was always the kind of investments that we did over time, and we are seeing many other opportunities coming in that sector. So we will be helping of creating economy of the fourth industrial revolution, which is a lot based on knowledge.
Great. So across multiple sectors and quite successful investments. Maybe Nelly, let's come to you then. We loved what you showed about how the country is doing and the growth rate going forward. But we'd love to hear about what are the sectors where there are investors in the room, right? What sectors are you prioritizing? Where are you looking for investors to come in?
Thank you, Acha, and thank you, Maktar, for all the work you mentioned in the work that continues. So I think if I pick up from the numbers I was discussing of how we grew this last year, I mentioned the sector of service that contributed to 44% of the GDP, and that was attributed mostly to the manufacturing and the construction activities. So if you look at the economy, even by the look of the eye today, you can see a lot of construction happening, real estate development, and also investment in building industries or companies, manufacturing companies. So I believe my colleagues from Rwanda Social Security Board and others on the panel will show specific projects. But one of the sectors that is still of attraction and it is driving that growth is in manufacturing and also construction, especially looking at real estate and affordable housing. Affordable housing is also one of the projects we've worked on with IFC because of, I would say, mainly two reasons. Of course, there's a need having an economy that is growing fast, looking at our population, 13 million of Rwandans, with 70% of our population young people who are getting educated, getting jobs, and forming homes, including needing to have decent lives, decent living neighborhoods. But also the management of our land requires that we do invest also in that sector, but in a way that is progressive, in a way that we also efficiently manage our land. So housing, affordable housing, going high in the sky than using more of the land space is one of sectors that are attractive. But also the service sector grew considerably. 11% of growth, which was mainly propelled by ICT, information and technology. He mentioned a lot of investment that has been done so far into technology and having infrastructure, but also setting up canal or vessels of enabling entrepreneurship also under innovation and technology. So that is also a flourishing sector. I'll mention, for example, today the Kigali Innovation Center, which is a project that has been initiated by government of Rwanda in collaboration with Africa 50 and some fundings from AFDB. So that's a project that is intended to set up a platform infrastructure, but that will be able to attract the sectors that boost the drive of the economy. We have in that area technology facilities that are going to be able to host technological companies. But also you have education, Carnegie Mellon University, African Leadership University, University of Rwanda, the Department in Research and Development, so that you also boost and build the skills that are needed, as I mentioned earlier, for the growth of the economy. I would also mention agro-processing. Agro-processing being very key, and I'll mention one of the projects, Gabiro Agri-Hub. We've already finished phase 1. This is a project where government of Rwanda has invested in basic infrastructures, roads, electricity, irrigation system, and we work with private sector to invest in farming for food security, which is very key for the nation, but also for export. We know that we need also to increase external revenues for our trade deficit balance, and this is also a key strategic area. So actually, I would say that if you look at the 3 components that are key, we're looking into industry, manufacturing growth, of course, real estate when it goes with the constructions, but also looking at the service, boosting it. Again, I have not mentioned the hospitality, which has also proven to grow a lot, and which is, again, a huge opportunity with all these international conferences we are having, with investment which is being done in the Kigali Sports City, the whole area around the stadium with BK Arena, the stadium which is now renewed, that is going to be having 45,000 capacity, the Zaria Court which is connected to it, which is going to be providing activities, sport, entertainment. That is also a hub that is giving other opportunities of investment in the area, also of creative industry, of sport and hospitality. Thank you.
Great, so across multiple sectors. The one thing, we all love Rwanda, but the one thing I hear some investors say sometimes, and I'm sure some people are thinking that in the room, is that Rwanda is a small market, right? It's a small market. So for those investors who are thinking that, what's your message to them?
I think they saw the message. Already with the growth we showed in the connectivity, Rwanda is no longer seen as just 13 million population in Rwanda. With East African community, we have close to 300 million. With connectivity with the rest of the world, now the world is accessible, whether you're in Rwanda, and also corporations that are existing with different countries. With the leadership of His Excellency, the President of the Republic, we've fostered over the years good collaboration and partnership with different countries where Rwanda and even Rwandans have access, huge access to those markets. And we invite you to come and partner with us even to get to those access to those markets. We like to say that we are a proof of concept country. We try, and now we try even starting new things. And now with all those opportunities, please join us so that we venture into that together. Thank you.
Okay, I love the message. Now, I think it's all positive. I'd love to hear a bit more, Makta, maybe from you, 2 things. One is, any challenges you faced as you look to invest here? And secondly is, as I look at all of us from different countries here, the truth is we don't see this kind of attraction, this kind of investment in other countries. When we say Rwanda, we talk about Rwanda, and Nelly spoke about the growth, but Rwanda has grown at 7%, not for 1 year, not for 5, not for 10, not for 15, for 20 years, consistently. We imagine what that then does. But we don't see that in many other African countries. So the second question is, what can we learn and replicate in our countries to try to emulate what Rwanda has done?
No, Aisha, you really touched the hard question. I think that we cannot have a country growing like that in the middle of countries which are not necessarily growing at the same pace. So we then need to see about the externalities of this growth in Rwanda on the rest of the continent. And I think that the Africa Free Trade Agreement is a good framework to look at what Rwanda can bring to the situation, to the continent. I think that by creating those supply chain, by integrating them and using really Rwanda as a hub in logistics, I see that as being an important feature of the growth of Rwanda. If you think about it, there are not a lot of countries in Africa which have articulated a strategy around being a hub for logistics. So I think that the investments that we'll be making in the airport, in Rwanda Airways, the alliances that you're building around that, the warehouse and park that you are building around, the fact that we will be able to do some agro-industry by importing some agricultural product that are coming from other countries and mix them with the local production, all that will create a supply chain in the continent that will be helping to, I hope, create the same dynamics in some economies which have the potential of doing that, but we are not doing it. I think that there is a kind of a demand, a quality of demand that will be required by Rwanda as a hub, a logistic hub, that will force some countries to improve the quality of their production, improve the quality of their connectivity, and therefore being part of the supply chain. And I think that's something that we need to think about. And you and I have been talking a lot about the Africa Free Trade Continental Agreement. I think more and more you will need to have data which can show in the continent where are the bottlenecks to start having and reaching that goal. I think that more and more we need to have this dialogue between private sector and public sector at the continental level, where those questions can be raised and the hard question raised and put at the table so that we can really improve the efficiency of the supply chain in Africa. I think that we will need at some point to have conversations which are, direct conversation about why things are not moving as they should be moving in some places in the continent. I think we cannot afford not to have those conversations if we want to have consistent growth. Because as you rightly said, you reach this level by not having stop and goes. You need to consistently grow year after year, around 7, 8, sometimes 10%. Guangzhou in China grew by 15% for close to 20 years. It's not something that, if you want to really eradicate poverty, become a middle-income country, that's what is needed. It's not to say I've grown for 8% for 2 years, so I'm fine. No, especially when you have still a demographic growth, a population growth which is still high, which means in capita on a real term, your growth is not as large. So I think that the African Free Trade Agreement, having data on the quality of exchanges that we're having, and having real conversation and harder. And I think the private sector and the CEO forum can be a place where people can be putting these issues at this table and raise them openly and have the dialogue between the policymakers and the private sector. And I think with that, we will have more investment and we'll be able to sustain it. And the rest of the continent will be able to build on this experience and other experience that we are seeing burgeoning in some other places in the continent, but not at the scale that we want to be able to make a difference for the continent.
No, totally agree. And I mean, again, I love the conversation, but I think it's too positive, right? So there must be some challenges, right? There must be some challenges. So Nelly, no, I'd love to, or maybe from you, starting with you.
I think the challenges, which is the challenge of every country, is the speed at which you invest. Investing in human capital takes time, and the result takes time. You're not moving to become a country which has a high level of STEM-trained people like Korea and so forth in one day. It's a long, education takes time. So I think that one of the challenges is the time it will take to reap the benefit of the investments that are made now in education and human capital. So I think that's one of the challenge, particularly when we have a very young population, which require a lot of investment to be able to bring them at this level. So that's one thing. The second one, I think, is to ensure that some of the conflict or situation, unstable situation, don't have an impact on the supply chain that we would like to build in the continent. Because I think that I see it as a threat right now, that we might have a lot of disruption in the supply chain, which might affect the ability to be used as a hub and be able to create this value addition. So those two elements, Asha, is those that I see as immediate challenges, the time it takes to reap the benefit out of investing the human capital, both in health and education.
Got it. We'd love to hear a few more from you.
Thank you. So maybe in addition to what he's just said, I think we still also have the challenge of setting up infrastructures that are needed when we want to get into the new sectors that I have to transform. I'll mention, for example, the collaboration we are currently having with IFC to create the Life Science Park. And that is an intention to create an industrial park where pharmaceutical ecosystem can flourish. And to set up that's a reality that we're looking at and having partners that are ready, because before you're able to bring in the industries you need, before you're able to address the issue we want to address in Africa, which is the biggest dependency we have on pharmaceuticals. Today, 70% of pharmaceuticals in Africa are imported and 95% of vaccines are imported. So obviously, it's not a question if we need to invest in that sector, we absolutely have to. But the starting point is not that smooth or an easy one. Creating that eco park to be able, currently have a project of having 40 hectares size, but if you look at everything you need to set up in there, the starting point requires a certain investment that, one, there has to be a political will, there has to be a willingness, leadership to take that decision. Luckily, Rwandan leadership has clearly manifested that willingness and commitment, but you also have to have development partners and also investors into that. So infrastructures that orient to those new sectors we have to enter into is also a side which is still challenging, but at the same time an opportunity. And then another one, of course, is access to capital, access to finance. That is why the creation of Kigali International Financial Center is in that direction. We're not yet where we want it to be. We are not yet, not only in Rwanda, but in Africa, in different projects. When we talk of startups, entrepreneurship projects, creation of funds, today we've created Rwanda Innovation Fund with the FDB, but this is a fund which is still need a lot to be able to cover even the needs of the different ideas and innovation. Investing in startup is investing in the future in ideas, innovation. But for someone to put a capital there, you're giving a certain leeway before you start getting results or before you start getting a return on investment. So those are still challenges which are at the same time opportunities, but that one phase, and there may be a reality that will make something not move or be realized at the speed you would want or you wish to have it done. Thank you.
I just want you to please on that. I think one of the challenges that I see is equity. You will have companies which grow very fast in the service sector. People can leverage a lot of that. But when you are in the service and the knowledge economy, a lot of things is betting on what is happening. So patient capital and these things like that are very important. So how to ensure that we will have enough equity to support those companies which are currently growing at a faster pace and which might be at some point over-leveraged because of meeting the demand that of the market. And that will require to think about how to attract more equity in the economy, which is a challenge for all countries. But second one is what I say is a contagion effect. There is still a very strong aggregate view of the African continent. So when something happened in Liberia, people say, oh, it's happening in Rwanda. You say, Liberia is closer to maybe Europe than it is to Rwanda. So it's important to, when I'm talking about having a stability in the continent, is because this effect, even if this kind of situation happens far from your economy, unfortunately, is still in the continent affect the perception of investment and the cost of capital which is attached to it. So I think that those are the kind of question because of the nature, Aisha, of the growth that they have in Rwanda. That quality of information is very important for the market.
And I like the fact, and again, we talk about as challenges, but these are all, as Nelly's pointed, the opportunities, right? Now our time is up, but so I'm going to ask you one last question, each of you, which is answer in 7 words or less. 7 words or less, you know. You should invest in Rwanda because, and I'll start with you, Nelly, because I'm sure you answer that question all the time, and I'll give Makta a few minutes to think about it. You should invest in Rwanda because?
We are trustable partners to make your business win-win.
All right, well, okay, fair. Makta?
Because it's a place you can make money in a safe way.
Oh, there we go. Please join me in thanking my fellow panelists. Thank you.
Let us appreciate them once again. Indeed, they did a good job. That was quite insightful. Thank you very much. Maktar, thank you, Nelly, thank you, Asha. If you had questions, I hope that from that conversation, you had them answered. But probably you're seated there and you're wondering, when are we going to listen to someone who has actually invested? This might have sounded really flowery. So you're looking for somebody who will come and say, a few bad points. Well, I'm going to invite someone forward. I don't know if he's got any bad experiences to share with you. But ladies and gentlemen, join me in welcoming somebody who's lived, walked, and experienced everything to do with Invest in Rwanda. It's Josh Well, the CEO of Ampersand. Please let's welcome him on stage.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for having me today and for the great honor to actually present our story as an example of why Rwanda has been such a fantastic place for us to start up in Rwanda. Ampersand is an electric mobility startup. We were founded back in 2016 here in Kigali. We manufacture battery packs for electric vehicles. We manufacture motorcycles. We are a software company. We're a lot of different things, but we are transforming mobility for Africa's 30 million motorcycles, zemijans, bodabodas, motos, commercial use motorcycles, taxi and delivery vehicles. We specifically chose this market, the Africa market, because it represents some of the lowest hanging fruit in the world for climate tech, for transforming from the old way to the new way for the best return on investment. The 30 million motorbikes in sub-Saharan Africa spend roughly $30 billion a year on fuel. We can transform that market to electric for less than the 1 year's annual revenue for that market. That's the total capital need. I challenge you to find an e-mobility intervention at that scale anywhere in the world that even comes close. So, first off, I would like to thank Mr. Diop as well. IFC is an investor in Ampersand through the Africa Go Green Fund. I would also like to thank McKinsey, thanks Archer, and thank you to also BCG and all the work that they've been putting into developing and supporting governments to get their heads around and to make decisions around e-mobility. But most of all, I'd like to thank Rwanda. So back in 2015, we selected Rwanda from a list of different countries across the region, and we looked at two things. One was just fundamental unit economics. We focused on Kigali's moto taxis because of the vast number of them on the road, covering huge distances every day, and the practicalities of setting up an e-mobility business, charging infrastructure, logistics, and so on. But it was also very much because of Rwanda itself, a few key factors. One was the green policy environment and the friendliness towards new technology as well. The safety, the low crime rate, the lack of corruption, the generally friendly business environment. And the ability to register a company, to get visas. Obviously, I'm not, I'm actually from New Zealand. To get visas in a short time compared to other parts of the world. And that's particularly important for startups. Waiting 2 years, 3 years to get the paperwork in order to actually get started is just unacceptable for startups and their investors. So what's our experience been? It's been now since 2016 when we began. The government of Rwanda has been a fantastic partner in actually understanding what we had to offer, what e-mobility has to offer, and actually crafting Africa's still leading, by far most leading legislation to support e-mobility, looking at electricity tariffs, for us, implementing a special electricity tariff for electric vehicle charging, exemptions on import duties, VAT, and a host of other incentives as well, and very much calibrated towards our needs. And as a result, we still favor Rwanda as our best country, but also we've expanded now into Kenya as well. We have 2,700 vehicles on the road as a result, in large part of Rwanda's support and the conducive environment, covering 50,000 kilometers every week. We just celebrated our 100 millionth kilometer. So that's basically, to put that in perspective, that's the car park at the Cape of Good Hope. I don't know if you've been down there, it's kind of smelly, there are some seals. And then driving to the Great Pyramid of Giza via a factory just down here in 7 minutes away in Kigali, 10,500 times. That's a journey of about one month. And our economics, I'll get in trouble with my CFO if I disclose our economics, but the economics that we're able to deliver here in Africa are far more compelling than countries that are worth $1 billion or more in the global north. The call to action, I would say, look, we need nimble, commercially minded equity venture capital. I'd certainly like to echo Mr. Diop's comments. And the key thing here is nimbleness and speed. For startups in particular, meritocracy demands speed. I am very conspicuously a white person standing up here. I was only able to start this company and get it up and running because of my wonderful wife, whose income we were both able to live off of. And until you have young, hungry startup founders who can raise the capital necessary in a short enough time span, it's not going to work. In Silicon Valley, we raised our Series A and from a Silicon Valley climate tech VC. That whole process took about 12 weeks. In a lot of African VCs, Africa-based VCs, we've seen 500K tickets. Later than that, the Series A was $4 million. Later than that, for 500K, take over a year, and that's just not acceptable for young African founders, and that's what we need to see more of. And I think the other missing piece is certainly for exits. So we need big corporates, and I'm glad to see so many of you here today, to actually take a closer look. There is a global VC equity winter right now, so prices are good, there's a shortage of capital, and the opportunities are very much out there. So I would encourage you to devote M&A resources to taking a look, at least taking a look and doing your research on the sector. And then finally, this big structural problem is there are no IPOs. It costs so much money to do an IPO from Africa. You have to be looking at a market cap of $800 million plus, and to do it in California, even before the whole SPAC revolution kicked off, you're looking at $200 million of market cap. So those exit routes for the VC investors, even if they can and want to come in and move quickly, they're struggling to justify to their LPs the ability to exit. So thank you very, very much for your time. I hope we've provided one compelling example of why you should start up in Rwanda and why Rwanda is fundamentally a fantastic place to start off with these climate tech opportunities that the whole continent has to offer. So start up in Rwanda. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Josh. A compelling one indeed. We should appreciate him some more, eh? He deserves it. And now Rwanda has an initiative that I would love you to hear about. This one is aimed at fast-tracking the country's desire to be transformed into an international financial destination. We've got another video for you, ladies and gentlemen. I would love you to have a look at the screen as we introduce you to Kigali International Finance Center.
Rwanda's financial sector currently contributes 3% to the country's general economy. By 2050, the country intends to increase the financial sector contribution to GDP to 11.8%.
Kigali International Financial Center plays and will play a great role in our Vision 2050.
The Kigali International Financial Center has been created to promote Kigali as a platform for financial innovation and financial investment in Rwanda, but also across Africa.
The Global Financial Centers Index GFCI 34 saw KIFC ranked as the third best international financial center IFC in Africa and second in sub-Saharan Africa, which demonstrates that KIFC is emerging as one of the financial centers, gaining significance and momentum on the global finance stage.
Fintech is a key component of what we want to do in Rwanda, and that will have positive externalities for Rwanda, but also for Africa.
With Rwanda emerging as a hub for green and sustainable finance, together with key ecosystem partners, the government of Rwanda is developing a national green taxonomy, only the second taxonomy in Africa. This policy instrument supports the country in achieving its nationally determined contributions (NDC) and guides in attracting funds from climate-conscious investors.
When it comes to Africa, Africa is an attractive destination for investment.
This is Africa's turn. It's happening. And the financial services is at the heart of that. It's the lifeblood, it's the heart, it's the lungs. I mean, any metaphor or analogy you can take, financial services is indispensable to finally lift Africans out of poverty, provide them with the jobs they need and the prosperity they need.
Rwanda's
That one ended unceremoniously. I don't know who stepped on the wire. But at least you have an idea of what Kigali International Financial Center is all about. If you're here and you're saying, I will go back to my country, this is inspiration enough for us to set up a financial center, please go ahead. You're all welcome. Want to be as many people as possible becoming in financial destinations. And we're going to have a conversation. Another one of those that I'm sure you're going to enjoy. And I do hope that after this conversation, we'll have a session for questions. So prepare the questions, please. I want to invite on stage for a conversation on Rwanda, your gateway to Africa. We've held a lot of conversations on investing in Rwanda, and for sure, I love it. I love because every time we're talking about your gateway to Africa, each time there's a networking session after that, you get to see people networking, talking, and you can tell that they're fully psyched up. So this conversation is going to do that to you. I would love to invite the CEO, Rwanda Finance Limited, that is Nick Barije, to come on stage, please. Next on stage, I would love to invite Marlene Goy, who's the CEO of Fund for Export Development in Africa. Coming up next, a round of applause for the CEO, Rwanda Social Security Board, which is Rumanshuro. And then we've got Jean-François Mubiriji, who's the acting chairperson, Private Sector Federation. It was my choice to arrange them in that order. Gender balance. And last but not least, join me in welcoming the moderator, Asha Lake, the chairman, Mackenzie's Africa region.
Mine.
Thank you. Friends, we have about 25 minutes, so we'll go straight into it. Oh, now it's on. Probably not. We'll go straight into it. So maybe, Nick, I'll start with you. We've heard about Rwanda finance. I guess the question people will have here is, why should I come here versus I could go to Casablanca, I could go to Mauritius. Why come to Rwanda instead?
Thank you. I believe Nelly did a very good job of laying the groundwork. We're having a session where we're saying Rwanda as a gateway. Actually, there is a number that I find disturbing, and this number is 7. When we look at the Global Financial Centers Index, it has only 7 capitals that are listed on that index. Now, we all do believe that Africa has opportunities, but Africa is underinvested. Mark Diop was talking about the need for equity. For equity to happen, debt, you name it, we need international financial centers to mediate that capital. So for us, it's not really whether it's an option of Casablanca or Mauritius. It's an option of creating more international financial centers that will facilitate that capital to happen, that is needed to finance different opportunities in Africa. But specifically for Kigali International Financial Center, it's proximity and the connectivity that you're going to get. Number 2, it's a jurisdiction that is transparent, that is able to facilitate different investment structures to happen. And number 3, it's the whole environment around the ease of operating in Rwanda. But emphasis for me is on the need to have more international financial centers beyond Casablanca, beyond Mauritius, Kigali. We need more to be able to monetize the opportunities in Rwanda and across Africa. Thank you.
So I hear you, and I think we all agree that we need more. Maybe I'll push you a bit on this to say, but again, if I'm going to start a company, I can decide where to go, right? So is it faster for me to do it in Rwanda? Is it cheaper for me to do it in Rwanda? Why would I consider coming here?
When I talk about the ease of doing business in Rwanda, it starts with the ability to set up. Nelly spoke about registering a business is under 24 hours. Now, if it's a financial service provider that is going to need licensing, and this licensing can be offered by either the Capital Markets Authority or the National Bank of Rwanda, that will happen in under 3 months, if you have all the paperwork in place. And number 2, depending with the activity that you have to do, we've done a policy reform that enables you to say, if I want to set up a special purpose vehicle, if I want to set up a Pan-African fund, if I want to list on Rwanda Stock Exchange, we have the policy framework that enables you to do that. Number 3, now when it comes to what investors are always looking for in terms of maximizing return, we've created a tax framework that incentivizes the different activities that we want to set up. Earlier in the projection that Neri made was, she showed that if you set up, for example, a fund structure, it's going to be taxed at a corporate income rate of 3%, and you're going to have 0 withholding on all the passive income that go through that fund structure. So it's that, those are the 3 compelling reasons as to why an investor in the audience who is looking to set up an investment vehicle should consider Kigali International Financial Center for domicile.
Great, very compelling. And we have a fund right next to you that then decided to come and set up here. So Marlene, why don't you tell us about your experience setting up here? And tell us a bit what FEDA is.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here. So my name is Marlène Gueilly. I'm the CEO of FEDA. FEDA is the Fund for Export Development in Africa. It's a very ambitious initiative from Afreximbank that realized what was mentioned several times this afternoon, that there was a missing instrument in Africa, and that was equity. So we're currently managing a little less than $800 million across different strategies. So we have equity, we have private credit, we have venture fund. We're very lucky to be the manager of the AFCFTA Adjustment Fund. That's a $10 billion fund. And we also have a fund that is dedicated to greenfield projects that we believe that are important. So that's FEDA in short. We are based here in Kigali. We have opened our office a few years ago. Just so you know, Afreximbank has 52 countries of Africa as members. So for us, it's quite important to have balance in where we are geographically on the continent. The headquarters in Cairo. We have representative office in Nigeria, in Cameroon, in Cote d'Ivoire, in Uganda. And when it came to FEDA, we chose very consciously to come and set it up here. Why? Number one, the type of cooperation that we got from the Kigali International Financial Center, but also from RDB, from the authorities at the highest level, to just ensure that everything was facilitated for us so that we could move fast and immediately start the work. So that was very important. We obviously looked at the business climate and environment. I think it's been said several times that Rwanda was ranked second, I think, based on the latest World Bank study on the ease of doing business. That matters. The tax environment is attractive. There is no restriction on capital flow, no restriction on foreign ownership. We have a Pan-African team. It's important that they're able to live in a place that is also vibrant and pleasant. So for all of these reasons, we're very happy to be based here.
Thank you. Thank you. And welcome. Maybe, Jean, I'll come to you, and I'll probably end with Regis, but I'll come to you. And I feel when we talk about Rwanda, we always talk about the public sector and the efficiency in government processes. But we'd love to hear a bit more about the private sector. So, how's the private sector in Rwanda? How vibrant is it? Any challenges you face along the way or not? It'd be great to hear.
In terms of the vibration of the private sector, I think my work has been done already by the former speakers, MD IFC, Deputy CEO RDB, and CEO Ampersand. The private sector in Rwanda has really been evolving in line with the government plans and projects that was brought here in Rwanda. We have talked about different international meetings that has been happening here. Those were not possible without the development of the hospitality sector by the private sector, putting in place hotels, restaurants, and other accommodations, and other services connected to that. We have seen the agriculture sector also growing by different companies coming into the sector for export of products, mainly horticulture, and even those companies are currently serving European and Asian markets. We have seen the ICT sector growing very fast. It has been touched by the MD of IFC. All of the sectors we mentioned here, without the technology development and the use of it in their businesses today, it's no longer possible, it's no longer sustainable. So ICT, with the young population of Rwanda, we have seen a lot of initiatives, a lot of projects coming in, being in transport, being in the traceability of the product from the farmers to the international market we are talking about. We have seen a growth in manufacturing, where we have seen different factories being developed, being in agribusiness, being in textile, being in animal foods, We have also seen the construction sector noticing a major development. So yes, the private sector in Rwanda is also vibrating. We are enjoying the stable and environment developed, established by our government, and we are also keen to take advantage of those advantages.
Thank you. Thank you, Jen. And then I'll come to Regis, and then we'll open up. I think it'll be great to have questions from the audience. So if you have any questions, start preparing them. There'll be some mics circulating, and we'll probably take 2 or 3 questions and then at a time. Regis, we saw an amazing video on all the impact you're having on the projects you're supporting. I guess for private sector in the room, if they're looking to invest here, what kind of partnerships could you provide for them?
Thank you, Acha. Again, the video covered a great extent what RSSB is and what we do and where we're investing. For private sector or other partners in the room who might be wondering how to partner with us, RSSB is pretty much sector agnostic on how we invest. However, beyond profit, which we look for, inevitably because the money we invest is off of our members and represent about 15% of the GDP, we have a big focus on impactful transformational investments. So if your project is in a sector that is going to transform the quality of the lives of Rwandan, and beyond Rwanda, the continent, RSSB is your partner. There's a matter of equity, lack of equity or patient equity that is always brought up. I want to put it out there that RSSB is here to solve that problem. As of recent, for an example, we've participated in 2 initiatives that are not only just for Rwanda. There's the Virunga Fund that was highlighted in the video, $250 million in partnership with QIA, investing in projects in Africa and starting from Rwanda. And there's actually an announcement soon of a very good and exciting transformational project to be funded. You saw Catapult, so for any entrepreneur in the room in technology, biotech, any other project that create jobs and change the lives of Rwandans and Africans, we are here to hear from you. We're also planning to launch an SME fund of $30 million soon for SME specifically. For the issue of equity, we really want to make sure we're addressing that issue. One thing particular, so that it's made clear, if you're only looking for returns, there are many funds that are doing that already. We have what we define as the Rwandan case, and when you hear Nick talk about Rwanda as a financial center, and if you look at the development agenda of what Rwanda stands for, there's a lot of opportunity to be captured and to be funded that will make you a lot of money safely, as Maktar mentioned. But also, you can count on us to be your anchor investor. We've proven historically that we are very good at the risking specific sector, growing businesses, listing them, and exiting to leave private sector opportunity to take over. A simple example is the largest cement factory, Simerwa, that we invested in, listed, and recently exited at a very good profit. We have the MTNs, we're still part of MTN. And we have the banking sector, Koje Bank. So there are many of those, but we're looking for partners who are like-minded, ambitious, and to harvest those opportunities. Thank you, Acha.
Great. So if you have a project and you need money, call Regis. All right, questions? Any questions? Yes, I see a hand here, and we'll probably take 2 or 3. So let's start. And if you could just give your name, and let's try to keep it short so we can take as many as possible, and tell us where you're from as well. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Thomas. I work here. I'm a founder. We are established here in Rwanda at Norsken. We work in the tech sector, and like you were talking about, more options to actually keep up the pace that the country has been doing of year-over-year growth of 10% or higher, even previous panels. for the last 20 years, and also to do more as we build more ecosystems. My question is related to the gap financing, as that's what you're talking about, and there's a fact of risk related when it comes to investments in Africa, and also a comparison to the West, where standards are different and how businesses operate in Africa is different, and the problems they're trying to solve are different. So where do you come from when you talk about de-risking African entrepreneurs and innovators so that they could have access to that financing? Because obviously there's capital, but how it is deployed, that's what often matters. Thank you.
Right. So how do you think about risk? Who else? There's a question here. Here,
Good afternoon. My name is Moyiwa Omololu from California, United States. I'm promoting the use of urban cable cars in the city of Kigali. And recently, the government awarded us the concession to build 2 urban cable car lines. So this question is directed specifically to Nick Barije about the green taxonomy that we saw on screen. Thank you.
All right. There's a third one here, and then we'll try to answer this round and then go to the next round.
Excellent. Okay, thank you very much. So we say that perception is the reality, but in Rwanda, ambition is the next reality. So I'm the proud founder of a Skull Brewery. We produce beer and soft drinks and water. And actually, my question comes to you, Nelly, Deputy CEO of RDB. Twice it was mentioned that the market size of Rwanda is enlarged by the population surrounded by Rwanda. And we have been very successful on exporting for many years, but sometimes the borders and relationships are closed. So the issue is, well, I leave it to you. But again, ambition is there. Thank you very much.
Okay. So, Regis, there's a question maybe for you on risk. How do you think about risk? And when we make these investments, Nick, there was a question to you. I didn't get it, but I hope you got it. Okay. And then Nelly, there's a question about what to do about the borders. Right. Regis, let's start with you.
Thank you, Acha. It was hard to hear very well the question, but it's about how do we manage risk. And it wasn't clear.
I thought it was, how do you think about risk when you're making your investments?
Are you asking how do we de-risk the projects?
There's risk factor attached to African entrepreneurs and how you invest in Africa, because problems being addressed, they are different than problems elsewhere in the world, and the ecosystem maturity and stages are different. So how do you de-risk or how do you think about risk when it comes to investing in African entrepreneurs, also considering the ecosystem and the economies?
Thank you. That's actually a very good question. And probably it goes back to why Rwanda. I think one thing we want to, as one of the players active in the ecosystem here in Rwanda, is the infrastructure being put around by the government. So if you are an entrepreneur in the tech sector, you have places like Norsken or Norwan, I've heard they say that better way, and you have the Kigali Innovation Fund that is available. You have the Ministry of ICT that has done a great job at creating talent with an academy, programming academy. In other sectors, you have RDB with a one-stop center. We also, directly with RSSB, the funds we are considering working with is not just bringing money as a contribution. We are looking at a model you see more and more of private equities that beyond putting money, puts like a corporate operational support of some kind, mentoring the founders, availing resources that are globally available to all the other investments they have made. So I think for us as an investor directly, we do make sure that, number one, if it's an entrepreneur bringing in a project, we don't do that directly, but we have funds like Catapult, Virunga, and a couple others we are considering, or hopefully new ones we might consider from this engagement that will be willing to bring money, but we put skin in the game as also to stay, you're not walking alone. but also we make sure they bring that aspect of support so that you don't have to necessarily, when it comes to marketing your services, some of these funds have already existing shared services across the ecosystem that are shared, not just in Rwanda, maybe in Europe or Asia, wherever they're coming from. The rest is there's strong political and practical will to make sure Rwanda as a hub works. So there's a reason why the slogan Rwanda works stuck is because it's a fact. So when you come here, you've heard a good example of Josh with Ampersat. You've heard Zipline, which has gone to become a unicorn, multi-billion-dollar valuation, started in Rwanda. We are lucky to be an early investor, reaping the benefits. And we are looking forward to create many more of that. But fundamentally, it's because our leadership believe in entrepreneurship, business that transform the lives of Rwanda, and every machinery available in Rwanda is released to unlock that opportunity. So there are great examples probably that have walked the talk, and we are just here to support maybe as an emphasis. And the rest is typical technical skills. How do you manage your risks? How do you remove bottlenecks? How do you leverage time as the ultimate equalizer? And speed to market. And we've seen some good examples that lead that to work. So hopefully that's helpful. Thank you.
Nick?
The question was around the taxonomy. We've been looking at where we see opportunity of attracting more long-term patient capital. And what we are seeing is that globally there is quite a lot of trillions of dollars that are circulating around ESG investing. And from that perspective, in 2022, we launched Kigali International Financial Center Sustainable Finance Roadmap. In implementing that sustainable finance roadmap, there are certain policy actions that needed to be made. And one of them was the development of a taxonomy that enables investors to be able to quantify and be able to give matrices that one can use to report on what qualifies. If you're talking about a cable car, for example, how does it get classified for it to be able to benefit from this funding around ESGs? So we are at a stage now where we are about to officially launch and enact the taxonomy. We did a roadshow for it at COP28. We've done roadshows and stakeholder consultations in Rwanda. So we are now more at the final stages of making this taxonomy official. I hope that's the question you asked and I responded appropriately. Thank you.
Nelly?
Thank you very much. I think issues of borders, Rwandan borders are open. Why? There's no Rwandan border that is closed, and when it comes to neighbors, geopolitics, there's much that can be done, and that we leave it to discussions, diplomacy, and different ways that, depending on the reasons, ex-country or ex-neighbor decided to close the borders. But again, as a saying, when one door closes, do not people say that another one opens. Right? So I think with the experience he has got with Rwanda as a country of 1,000 opportunities, we've had also opportunities in so many other ways. So to answer to your question, there's still also growth of markets even where borders are open. And where they're not open, we believe there are channels of working together. Context have to be looked at and assessed and managed or tackled in the right way with the right authorities and officials and channels. But when it comes to business, we know you know that we are having even more and more opportunities, especially with the business you have in Rwanda. So for us, there's always opportunities, there's growth, even in markets where we are, and we are getting even more doors opening and more borders opening. But Rwandan borders are always open. Thank you.
Thank you. Maybe let's take one more round of questions.
I've got a question.
There was one at the back. There was one at the back there.
There's one here. Just right here.
Oh, there's one here? Okay. I'd love to have a woman ask a question as well, but let's see. Please go ahead.
All right, thank you. My name is Kwame Adu Dakwa. I'm with SNET, which is the equivalent of your FSSB in Ghana. So my question would be, and I would like your opinion as well, my question would be on agricultural risk, farming risk. I know we talk in Africa that, agriculture is so important, but most of the time you realize that, when you go to financial institutions, addressing farming risk is a problem. So how do you deal with it? And your opinion on that, please. Thank you.
So how do you address agriculture risk?
Yes, in projects.
In projects,
Yeah.
okay. There was one there, at the back there.
Hi, good afternoon. I have one remark and one question. First of all, I would like to say that this is my first visit. I'm Mukesh Takwani, CEO of BFA Plus Group from Ghana. And I must comment that this is my first visit to Rwanda, and I'm in love with your country already. So my question is that, is government having a data on the different type of industries? We run into the steel industry and cement plants across West Africa. So if there is any data available for that. And second is that, what kind of protection you can give if people come up here and put up a big industries for Rwanda and to support the neighboring countries?
So the first was on data, and the second? There you go. That's the answer to your data question. All right.
Thank you very much. That's really nice.
And what was the second one?
And the second one is how to support the industries. Once we have a capacity for able to produce not only for Rwanda, but for the neighboring countries. Is the government will able to put a ban on importation, cheap importation? I think that is the biggest
ban on importation. I think
Yes.
we have the Minister of Finance here. Okay. Is there another question? Yes.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much. My name's Samuel Munyao, CEO of Silverback Tea Company. We have been operating in Rwanda since 2017. We started off as a greenfield, and right now we are running 3 tea companies in Rwanda. I want to start by complimenting RDB by remaining very, very accessible, very open to us. Every time we needed any support, we've been able to get it. The investment incentives have been brilliant, and they've benefited us a lot. The question I have is tied to the question that the gentleman from Ghana has asked. Agriculture, long-term investments. We've received very good investment incentives, very good support. Is there a risk that Rwanda can become too attractive to investors and those benefits are pulled out in future? Thank you.
Okay. All right, benefits pulled out over time. All right, so let me do this. I think on the ag risk, maybe if you want to take that, Regis, and I don't know, Marlon, I don't know if you invest in ag. Okay, so then you can take that. And then on the, basically import substitution, I think was the question, and changing of policy over time. Maybe I don't know if the minister wants to address those. All right, I just want to start.
Yes, so when it comes to agriculture, so RSSB agriculture is part of our portfolio already. In 1 month also, we are commissioning the milk powder plant, which will be a state-of-the-art facility with about 650,000 liters per day for powder milk. We're invested in Inyanje, probably the water you bring in with the milk and juices. We are looking for more. The government of Rwanda is doing a lot in promoting agriculture with the Gabiro project, the irrigation projects around. We acknowledge the fact that everybody eats. That means there's business to be made. So we are open. If you have a project that might have struggled with specific risks, we're not experts per se, but we work with the experts from the Ministry of Agriculture, RDB, but also other advisory services. Whether there is money to be made and transformational impact to be made, count on us to be part of your journey. So maybe I'll leave it at that, and the rest is to be explored. Thank you. But I think Marlene can probably say more.
Yes, no, let me come in, because I think that when it comes to risk, oftentimes I feel like the risk perception in Africa is a little bit disproportionate compared to reality. So sometimes I go to the United States and people are like, we would love to invest, but it's risky. And those are the same people who bought FTX coins, right? So you're just like, you can take risks, like if you're able to do that. So let's start by that. So I do think it's important for us to have success stories to talk about it, so that people start understanding, that in any places there are risks, but there are mitigants to those risks, and we are in the business of taking risks, but we know how to mitigate it. I was happy to hear about the success story that we heard earlier. The numbers are so good that he couldn't disclose it, so I'll take your card and we should talk. We have fantastic results at FEDA. We are double-digit return on our portfolio so far. So it's very important to understand, number one, you have to find credible people to execute all of the opportunities that exist in Africa. I always say that people want to come in and think that things are going to be easy. I'm like, no, you need to have the ability to, there are tons of opportunity because of the demographics, because of the growing middle class, because of the import substitution plays, because of the AFCFTA, where you're going to be able to trade within Africa. And we spoke about 80 million people, but it's in the East Africa region, but it's a lot more as you include all of Africa. So those opportunities exist in almost every sector, but the capacity to execute is not always there. So that's the first thing that I would say. Also, some people want to come and do copy-paste. This is how it's done over here. Let me just copy-paste. There's some level of adaptation that you need to do. It's important to also understand Africa is more and more integrated, but it is not one country, so there's specificity when it comes to distribution channels or different things in different countries. I think that those are the things that I would say, and what compensates for some of the risk perception is the tremendous growth that you can have here, because you can quickly gain market share if you have something that is affordable, acceptable, and available, well distributed. You can quickly grow, so that's the thing that compensates. So I just want to be very bullish about the environment in Africa. I think if you know it, you do it seriously with the right people. We are finding fantastic return. We are able to mitigate a lot of the risks that are seen, and I encourage more people to come in, because as Nick mentioned, there are trillions of dollars around the world, and money is not lacking, and we would like to see more of it here, and so that's what I will say.
Thank you very much. I think we allow a minister also to respond to, I think, one or two questions. Microphone to the minister, please. And then we'll unfortunately have to wrap up this session, because as you know, we are having another session at the end of the day, a presidential panel in the next 1 hour. So there's a need to wrap up this one so that preparations can be done. So I know a lot of questions and ideas are still on, but you please bear with us so that we wrap up. So Minister, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you, moderator. I want to answer to the question from the gentleman about whether the government of Rwanda can ban imports to protect local production. We are an open economy and we promote competitiveness. But we have different measures to support companies to increase their competitiveness. We have a range of incentives offered by RDB through the investment code, and the deputy CEO of RDB has given you a card. Please interact with how you get all the list of incentives available to improve your competitiveness without banning any import. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So allow me, as we close, to come back to the panel. If our panelists are having one final word. I don't know if I'm also going to give you 7 words like Acha did to us. But please, any final comments, and so that we wrap up.
Yes, I wanted to mention that the Federation of the Private Sector in Rwanda is complementing the work of the Rwanda Development Board in receiving investors interested to invest in Rwanda to connect them with the local entrepreneurs who are really willing to connect and partner with the companies present here, who has specific expertise and interested to touch the region, the market in the region. So we are open to help you connect with them, give you the platform for that, and we welcome you. Thank you.
Thank you. Regis?
Thank you. My parting words is we're a healthy fund growing at a healthy pace, and we are looking for more opportunities. So if you're in a room with a brilliant idea that you would like to see implemented fast, not only Rwanda will help you get there, but we want to be part of your journey. We've been privileged to be part of creating of Unicorn, a global one, and there are some others in the pipeline. Maybe there are some others here in the room. So we would like to stay in touch. The Deputy CEO, Luis, is here, and the Chief Investment Officer. So if you want to stay in touch, let's do it, or contact us on our social media platforms or our website. We want to work with you, and we want to make it work. So as they say, the best is yet to come, and hopefully we're all part of it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Marlene.
Thank you very much. We want to obviously, on behalf of FEDA and Afreximbank, thank Rwanda for hosting us. We have 2 investments in the country, Liquid Telecom as well as Arise IIP, the exciting industrial park in Bugesera. We hope for many more. And I just wish the country continued success, because I believe success is contagious. And you should all know that Rwanda does a lot for its own development and prosperity, but a lot also for the rest of Africa. So we were very happy to set up the AFCFTA fund that's going to promote intra-Africa trade here in Rwanda, and we have gotten all of the support. So thank you again for that.
Good. Nick, thank you.
Thank you. I have a call to make. We often talk about foreign direct investments, and we look at it from the perspective of it coming outside Africa. But one of the silent things that is not said in platforms like this is that the number of African high net worth individuals is increasing. And the bit that we want to make a call to you too is, instead of looking to financial centers out of Africa, like Luxembourg, Zurich, it's time now for Africa. We've built international financial centers that are compliant, that are transparent, that offers you opportunities. So my call is, consider Kigali International Financial Center and other African financial centers for domicile of African wealth. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So a round of applause to our panelists. Thank you. And let me use also the opportunity to welcome MC so that we close this session and allow the rest of other works to happen. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Let's appreciate the panelists once again. And thank you, Nick, for that call to action. Foreign investment should not always come from out of Africa. We hope that you're now fired up after listening to these amazing people, and you will join the club of those that say, I went to Rwanda for a conference and I never left. Then there's a gift bag on your seat. That's your gift bag. It wasn't warming the chair for you, no. Please take it home with you. Rwanda's coffee is ranked high up there. Would love you to taste it. We hope you will enjoy it. Kindly take that gift bag with you. As we come to the close of the session, I want to appreciate all of you for coming and being a wonderful audience, and special recognition to Honorable Abdurrahman Sarr, who's the Minister for Economy Planning and Cooperation of Senegal. Thank you all, and we do hope you will enjoy the rest of your stay in Kigali. Now, let's use the amazing space around here to network, or like outside there, not in the room. See you, thank you. Have a lovely evening.
Welcome to Rwanda, a world of endless opportunities, where innovation and growth converge against a breathtaking backdrop. This is your opportunity to embark on a transformative journey, ideal for organizations seeking new horizons. In the heart of Africa lies Rwanda, a nation that has not only overcome adversity, but has emerged as one of Africa's most promising business hubs. Here, the prospects are boundless, and the incentives are abundant. Imagine a nation renowned for its ease of doing business, with a government committed to fostering a conducive environment for foreign investments. The World Bank ranks Rwanda as one of the top countries in Africa for business-friendly policies. Picture a workforce that is young, dynamic, and eager to contribute to your success. The government of Rwanda's commitment to technology and innovation creates the ideal setting for your business to thrive. With a rapidly growing digital infrastructure, your company can harness the power of connectivity like never before. From the vibrant streets of Kigali to the lush landscapes of the land of 1,000 hills, Rwanda invites companies and investors from all around the world to be a part of its success story. Be it in finance, technology, manufacturing, renewable energy, mining, or any sector, the possibilities are endless. Therefore, if you're a company with a vision for growth, Rwanda is more than a destination. It is an opportunity to be part of a nation's journey.
Can I have your attention, please? Can we kindly ask everyone to please exit the room as we need to prepare for the following session. Ladies and gentlemen, if we can please ask you to exit the room as we prepare for the next session. Thank you very much.
In Rwanda.